Hi guys, welcome back to If the Gap Exists with Daphne and Senna.
Yes. So we have a new championship leader, Antonelli on top.
I know, right?
Yeah, interesting times. He's the first teenager we've ever had to be leading a championship.
hmm
And last week I was saying I can't see him doing much, or not that I won't see him doing much, but I think George Russell's gonna dominate. But
Right?
lo and behold, shows what I know, Antonelli's on top.
I mean, I did mention that, Toto, before he came, there were doubts of him coming into Formula One. But again, he went from F3, he jumped F2. No, he didn't do F3, he jumped to F2, and then he came to Formula One. So apparently he has a lot of potential from his karting days. So people doubted, but there were some that could see the potential. And I guess he's showing him. I think he's hungry for something. And
Yeah.
it shows that when you give him a good car, when he's in a good position, he's able to take that opportunity and do what he can do. Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely progressed a lot since last season. But what did you think of the Japan race? I know it was a very early start for both of us, so I was very tired while watching it, but it was decent.
I mean, to be fair, I think the start was very interesting because now we have McLaren in the mix. 2 weeks ago, we weren't even considering them in a factor because not only had Piastri not started any race, but Norris had a DNF and then he didn't start his other race. So we didn't really know their potential, but I think when they had that sorted out, they came in the mix. And it
Yeah,
was very
exactly.
interesting to see them in the mix because, from our last episode, we gave our predictions and we didn't even consider McLaren. But you do remember I mentioned McLaren could come and take over, and lo and behold, they put themselves in the mix. Piastri had a very good start. I think aside Ferrari, they've also mastered the starts very well. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's quite at Ferrari's level for the starts. I mean,
hmm
if the straight was a little bit longer, I reckon Leclerc would have taken first because, as per usual, Ferrari's like
hmm
straight off the line, and Mercedes do what Mercedes have been doing the past few races, and they were just bogged down. I think Antonelli got a lot of wheel spin,
hmm
but yeah, I guess he managed to claw it back. I mean, I found the race it was a bit of an interesting one. I think
Yeah.
Japan's historically been quite difficult to overtake, so it's not surprising that there weren't as many overtakes as there have been in the other races, but there was still a decent amount. The I think one thing is you still have these like really bad closing speeds where if the car in front doesn't have enough battery, you come up behind them so quickly that it can be a bit dangerous. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess Ollie Behrman clearly suffered from that, was almost too fast behind Colapinto. And before he knew it, he was on the grass, then off the track. And yeah, a big accident there. So hopefully that gets sorted out later on into the season. But for now, I guess it's just something that we all have to live with.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I also found it. I think when it comes to Kimmy, I feel like when there's pressure on him, he has a bit of a wobble. We saw that in the race previously in China, and then this time too, he had a bit of wobble, which made him lose the place for a second. And I don't know if it's because he's obviously still a bit of a rookie. He's never been in the fighting position before, so there's a bit of pressure. I also can't tell if it has to do with the whole engine issue with the battery, because we also have an issue where out of nowhere Russell also was having power issues where it was easy for him to be overtaken. And honestly, as I said the last time, we are still getting used to this whole new power, having both the internal turbo and then the electric power. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's still a bit of a new territory for everybody because even Science had a, I think there was an interview he had over the weekend where he was complaining not only about the stats, about um the rules this season, how not it's not very safe for them. They have to sort it out and whatnot. So I think it's very interesting. But one thing I also found very interesting in this race was, Russell had the advantage. He was ahead. But then he was questioning whether he should make the pit stop now or not. And he asked them, what do they think? They brought him in. And as soon as he comes out, what do we know? Safety car. It was
Yeah,
so, in my mind, I'm like, how much bad luck could you have for this to happen to you? Because in all fairness, if that hadn't happened, it probably would have been him and Piastri in the lead. But then this happens, and then now it puts Kimi in an advantage. It just shows you sometimes you can be good, but when luck is not on your side, shit happens. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Because I guess he did everything he had to do. He did everything right. He didn't really make any mistakes. I know Russell obviously didn't get away from the start as fast as he'd like, but
hmm
then what Mercedes does. And yeah, as you said, safety car comes out at the worst possible time for him, and he's gone from being second and chasing down Piastri to dropping back down to about fifth or fourth or fifth, something of the sort. So yeah, really unfortunate for Russell, but that's racing. Sometimes it will work in your favour, sometimes it won't.
Yeah.
We know that later on in the season something will happen that will benefit him, and that's just how it works, I guess. So yeah,
Yeah. I think another thing that we can also talk about, Max. Obviously, in qualifying, he was eliminated from after Q2, which I feel with Red Bull nowadays, it's not surprising. But it was surprising that Hajar outqualified him, which again, it seems, I don't know if he's having issues, if he's just not comfortable with the new car. Maybe Isaac is, but it was very interesting to see him fighting again with Pierre, where in the end Pierre maintained the lead. Like I never thought I would see the day Red Bull and Alpine will be battling for a position. Like even
yeah, I
when Mercedes
100%
weren't
agree.
doing well, this was not really happening. So I don't know. I don't know if I
Yeah,
should feel
I
bad.
definitely agree. I think right now we're seeing that Max Verstappen is a mere mortal man. He is not Superman like we were once led to believe, because Hajar is normally able to not match him, but always is close. And when Verstappen is off of it, Hajar's taken advantage and is ahead.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I guess the race didn't pan out in that way in the end, but at least for qualifying purposes, it did. And yeah, as you said, somehow the Alpine is, I don't know if it's faster, but it's fast enough to keep a Red Bull behind it. And who would have seen that coming? I mean, we all
I know,
knew Red Bull
right?
would probably have some kind of teething issues, but to be behind the Alpine, who last season were they were just awful last season.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that those some good points for Gasly finishing in P7.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah, congrats
yeah.
to them.
I guess it just shows you with the new regulation, you don't know who has been able to crack it and who hasn't, because no matter how top of a team Red Bull is, it doesn't seem as if they've gotten to be in the top mix this season. I mean, when we started, it's only been 3 races, but when we started, it was Ferrari and Mercedes. Now we see McLaren coming into the mix, and it might be early, but Red Bull should have been in the mix at least. But from all the complaining Max has been doing, I don't think they're going to be able to get that part right, if I can say. But then again, we're going on a break. 5 weeks. Anything
Exactly.
could happen
Yeah,
during the
5 weeks
break.
is a very long time in Formula One.
It's very
We know
long.
that every single team is going to come with upgrades to Miami.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of talk about the Ferrari upgrade
Mm-hmm.
and how
Mm-hmm.
Ferrari could potentially be reeling Mercedes in a little bit. Maybe not get ahead of them, but reduce the arrears. But it's not like Mercedes are standing still, is it? Mercedes will also be bringing upgrades,
Yeah.
whether it's aerodynamics, whether it's the battery, whatever it is. It's it's going to be a very different scene, I think, when it comes to Miami.
Mm-hmm.
You could have the Mercedes, McLaren, and Ferrari just far ahead of everyone else, or maybe certain upgrades don't work they want them to, and they've actually ended up pulling themselves back towards the rest of the pack. So we'll see.
I mean, there's been a lot of talk on X how when it comes to Ferrari talking about because Fred was interviewed and he said they're going to bring something that will challenge the championship in Miami. And people are a bit skeptical because when it comes to Ferrari, you can never really know with them. They kind of give you a bit of a jump scare here and there. So
Yeah,
it will be very interesting.
Ferrari love to bring you up just to pull you back down. They always give you just enough hope just to break your heart.
I'm telling
So
you, I
I'm not getting too
100% agree.
excited.
I feel like
Is
I even saw it today, you know, with the whole Lewis thing. I get it, he got an advantage because of the pit stop. But what do you mean out of nowhere there's a deployment issue and suddenly now he falls from P3 all the way to P6? Like honestly, it was just not the best, especially when we had a few laps to go. He went without having any deployment for about 10 laps and I don't know what the issue was, if it's an internal issue, if it was just something with the car. They need to work on it. He was not happy. Even when they talked to him after, he was radio silent. Like he didn't say a single word. And that shows you how upset he was, how the race ended up for him.
Yeah, and I think that kind of misfortune is going to happen a couple more times this season. Not necessarily to just him, but to everyone. I guess it always happens when you have new regulations.
Mm,
There's always going to be some kind of mechanical issues. We've seen the McLarens have already had a couple. We've seen Williams, Alex Albon, he couldn't finish the race.
yeah.
Well, I mean, he technically came back into the race, but it's not the same thing.
He had
So
six
yeah,
pit stops.
yeah, exactly. So this kind of thing is just going to happen, and unfortunately for Lewis, it happened today when he was in a position to get a podium. So he'll just have to take it on the chin and come back stronger in Miami. And hopefully in Miami, we finally get to see the Macarena wing in full action. We've been promised it a lot. It's been teased a lot. We've seen it in practice, but to be able to see it in an actual race situation, that would be quite interesting, quite
Yeah.
intriguing.
Yeah.
And that is supposedly meant to make them faster in a straight line than the Mercedes.
Mm, okay.
So we'll see what happens there.
Okay. I mean, in Miami, we also get to see Lewis' new engineer, Cedric. That's also another relationship that will be watched a lot to see how their dynamic will be. I mean, obviously nobody is Bono, but it'll be interesting to see how that will pan out if they will have a good relationship, better than Adami or even Santi. So that's
Yeah.
interesting.
I
Um,
mean, everyone's better than Adami and Lewis. That partnership, that just looked like some kind of toxic ex situation.
wow.
It was very bad. So
Well, I
we'll
can't
see what
fault you
happens with
there.
Santi.
I can't fault you there, to be fair. But I mean, 5 weeks to go. There's a lot we can be expecting. There's already a lot of rumors, a lot of announcements being made. You know, obviously, New Way is going. We have Jonathan taking his place. We are hoping some people will bring new upgrades, this long break and whatnot. What is your prediction for this? Obviously, our prediction the last time, some panned out, some didn't really. It's a
Yeah,
long break. What do you think?
I think the prediction I made last time was definitely a Mercedes on top. So I got that bit right. I think I got the wrong
Ah.
driver. I think I underrated Antonelli heavily, and I won't be making that mistake again.
Yeah, yeah.
I think Miami will be an interesting one because Miami is quite a fast circuit. So you'd think that any team with a good engine should have a chance. So I'd expect the Ferrari to maybe be a little bit behind. Well, that is obviously depending on if they're able to bring this Macarena wing. And I think it will probably be a Mercedes, then a Red Bull. Sorry, not a Red Bull, a Mercedes, then a McLaren, then Ferrari, and then only Christ knows what's going to happen with the Red Bull. It might be a Haas, it might be a Red Bull, it might be an Alpine. We don't actually know, but
Hmm. I would
I'm
say
keeping my
Alpine.
predictions vague.
I probably would say Alpine over Red Bull after 3 races. But then again, they're going on a break. You really don't know what's to come. Red Bull will probably come and surprise us with something. I highly doubt it, but it's possible. And
Yeah,
I don't know. Let's see. For me, with everything that's going on, I definitely will also Mercedes will be on top. Now, as to between McLaren is fast on the straight, obviously because they have the Mercedes engine, but they've not been able to unlock its full potential. So I would say, aside that, maybe between McLaren and Ferrari.
and actually, speaking of the McLarens not being able to unlock the full potential of the Mercedes engine, I saw something of a rumor. I don't know how true it is, but I thought I'll bring it to you today. That when they were in testing in Bahrain, the Mercedes engine that was given to them is obviously the same engine, but it was kind of a beta version as far as the software goes.
Hmm.
So they've got the same engine, but they're not able to maybe map it the same way or
Yeah,
see as much
yeah,
data. So therefore, they weren't able to get fully up to speed with the engine the same way that the works team were. And that's why Mercedes have such an advantage because they've had more time to actually understand the engine. The McLarens now do have access to the full capabilities of the engine, but they're technically 2 weeks behind the Mercedes
yeah,
because they didn't really have that same data during the testing period. So a little bit of gamesmanship here and there, but I guess
yeah.
it's worked out pretty well for Mercedes because they've got 3 wins in a row now. So yeah.
I think it was even mentioned that, they actually gave the other teams the engine the week of the actual race, the first race, because I realized that they said Alpine, Williams, and McLaren got it then, whereas Mercedes had the advantage. I know that sounds a bit unfair to the other teams, but hey, they have to do everything to their advantage. But I did also see a rumor where it says, there's an issue with the Mercedes car in terms of their wings, the front and then the
Oh
rear
yes,
where
the front
so
wing
there's
doesn't
some
close properly.
yeah, so there's an investigation going on into that. I don't know what will come of it. It will be interesting to
That
see.
was actually been closed already. What
Oh,
happened
really?
was there was a glitch in the system, so the wing didn't close in one motion like it was supposed to. But they've been able to prove that this was literally just a mistake in the system, and I guess going forward, we shouldn't be seeing it again.
Hmm. Well, I don't know what to say about that.
Yeah, I think normally if you can prove that it was a mistake or it was some kind of glitch, you can kind of get away with it. Maybe you
Hmm.
get a fine, but then they wouldn't deduct any points or anything like that.
Hmm.
So if it happens once for Mercedes, it's fine. If it happens again, then I guess we start looking into it a bit more
Yeah.
scrutiny.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I guess Now we have to wait 5 weeks to see our next race and
Yeah. I don't know
see
what I'm
what
gonna
goes
do with
over there.
myself for those 5 weeks. It's a long time. It's gonna be a lot of rumors. The vast majority of them aren't even going to be true, but
Facts.
that's what we like about the sport. There's a lot of drama going on, and half of the time it's not real. It's almost like a big
Yeah.
soap opera sometimes.
hmm
But yeah,
hmm
we love it.
Yeah, I'm going to use my time to probably watch some old races, keep myself entertained until the next. Because I don't have anything to do for the next 5 weeks. Like, there's no formula. Already, we went about 3 months without, and now we are back, and suddenly we have to go 5 weeks without. So I'll keep
Yeah,
myself entertained.
it's crazy. And then on top of that, we're going to have the summer break as well. That will be another
Exactly.
like month or a bit more than that as well. So yeah, we're going a lot of time this year without Formula One. So stay strong, people.
We'll keep you entertained in the meantime. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Until then, it has been If the Gap Exists. Bye.
Bye.